Friday is the day of the week where it's hectic, yet it's relaxing because you know you don't have to.
The original Friday, Cube and I, is it wasn't like we were really trying to be funny. You know, we can't start naming people we want to see go.
Friday looked like a simple comedy about life in the neighborhood. Most people just saw it as another funny movie. But Ice Cube and DJ Pooh had something else in mind. The movie had plenty of laughs, but it also showed the everyday struggles people actually faced. What audiences didn't know was how hard it was to get this film made. What really happened on that set? And why did it take so long for the truth to come out? Join us as we uncover the shocking secrets that most people didn't know about the decade-old movie. Number 28. The Anti-Hood Movie. Before Friday came out, most movies about South Central Los Angeles focused on violence and tragedy. Films like Boys in the Hood and Menace Society showed the harsh realities of gang life and loss. Ice Cube and DJ Pooh were tired of this one-sided picture. They grew up in these neighborhoods and knew there was more to the story. Cube said something that stuck with people. He pointed out that in South Central, there was more laughter than tears. Life wasn't just about gangs and drive-bys. People had friendships, told jokes, and found ways to get through each day. That was where the idea for Friday started. But could Ice Cube turn his vision of real life and laughter into a script that truly worked? Number 27. The Failed Scripts. Ice Cube had already made a name for himself in rap, but writing a screenplay was completely different. His first attempt at the Friday script didn't work. The second draft was just as bad. Cube himself called them whack and garbage. He didn't know how screenplays worked. The pacing was off. The dialogue didn't flow right. Most people would have given up and hired a professional writer, but Ice Cube decided to figure it out himself. He bought a computer and started studying.
Cube bought a computer and decided to teach himself how to write a screenplay.
He read through other screenplays to see how they were structured. He studied how successful writers build scenes and create dialogue. Then he started over from scratch. The third attempt was different. This time, he found what the script needed. With the script done, could they convince Hollywood to bet on a simple South Central story? Number 26. Inspired by an indie film. Ice Cube and DJ Pooh took their Friday script to different studios. The response was the same everywhere. Nobody wanted to make the movie. Studio executives didn't see how a comedy about two guys hanging out on a porch could make money. Cube and Pooh needed a strategy. They started comparing Friday to Clerks, the Kevin Smith movie that came out a year earlier.
Kevin Smith's 1994 semi-autobiographical film, Clerks.
Clerks was shot in black and white for practically nothing and became a huge hit. It was just people talking in a convenience store, but audiences loved it. The comparison worked because it showed studios that day-in-the-life films could succeed. But even with a smart pitch, what if every studio still said no? Number 25. The Credit Card Gamble. Hollywood had serious doubts about Friday. Two rappers trying to make a movie? Studio executives didn't think it would work, but they had a backup plan ready. If no studio would fund the movie, they'd make it themselves. The plan was to max out their credit cards and shoot the film independently. New Line Cinema eventually agreed to fund the project. The studio put up $3.5 million. That sounds like a lot, but for a Hollywood movie, it was tiny. But once the money came, who would bring the characters to life? Number 24. Smokey was supposed to be DJ Pooh. Smokey is one of the most memorable characters in Friday. Chris Tucker made him iconic with his high-energy performance and rapid-fire delivery.
What the fuck you doing stealing boxes for? What, you trying to build a clubhouse?
But the role was never supposed to be his. DJ Pooh wrote Smokey for himself. The studio had different ideas. New Line Cinema didn't think DJ Pooh could carry the role. DJ Pooh had to make a difficult choice. He could fight the studio and risk the entire movie falling apart, or he could step aside. He chose the movie over his own ego and allowed the role to go to someone else. In the end, his sacrifice proved that sometimes letting go is what makes a story truly shine. Number 23. Chris Tucker's terrible audition. Chris Tucker almost didn't get the role of Smokey. His first audition was terrible. Tucker's delivery was flat and lifeless. Nothing about his performance stood out. Everyone watching thought he'd blown his chance. Ice Cube, DJ Pooh, and the producers were ready to move on to the next actor. Kim Hardin convinced the team to bring him back, and that was the turning point the movie needed. Tucker went from a struggling comedian to a movie star, all because someone believed he had more to offer than what they saw the first time. Tucker brought the laughs, but who inspired the fearsome Debo? Number 22. Debo was real. Tommy "Tiny" Lister Jr. didn't create Debo out of thin air. The character was based on a real person from Los Angeles named Eugene "Big U" Henley. Henley was a gang enforcer, someone who controlled his territory through intimidation.
That's right. Federal authorities say Eugene "Big U" Henley led a violent criminal enterprise.
Lister had seen people like him up close in L.A. He studied how these enforcers moved and talked. The goal was authenticity. Hollywood had plenty of over-the-top villains who were fake. Lister didn't want Debo to be a cartoon character that audiences laughed at. He wanted people to recognize Debo as someone they might have actually encountered. But while Debo ruled the block with fear, who was the woman whose charm captured the neighborhood? Number 21. Miss Parker's Game Show, past. Kathleen Bradley played Miss Parker in Friday.
Hi, Miss Parker. Hi, boy.
She was 43 years old when she filmed Friday. Most movies would have cast someone much younger for that type of role, but her age actually made the character work better. She had confidence and presence that younger models couldn't pull off. There was something authentic about the way she carried herself. She was the neighborhood woman that every teenage boy noticed, the one who made them stop whatever they were doing just to watch her walk by. While Miss Parker shone, did people spot the hidden future star? Number 20. Oscar nominee was in the background. There's a small detail in Friday that most people miss. In the flashback scene where Debo knocks out Red, there's a group of men playing dice in the background. One of those men is Michael Clark Duncan. His name doesn't appear in the credits. He worked as a bodyguard in Hollywood. The pay was inconsistent, and he was barely getting by. A few years passed. Duncan landed a role in The Green Mile as John Coffey, a death row inmate with supernatural healing powers. His performance was powerful enough to earn an Academy Award nomination. Hollywood suddenly knew his name. While one future star hid in the background, did people also catch the next rising celebrity? Number 19. Megan Good's first movie. Friday had another actor who went on to bigger things. Megan Good was only 13 when she appeared in the movie. She's in one brief scene near the ice cream truck.
She is the little girl standing by the ice cream truck.
She had no lines and was just on screen for a few seconds. That small moment mattered more than anyone realized at the time. Good used Friday as her first real film credit. Casting directors saw her in the movie. The following year, she landed a role on the television show Moesha. That part got her noticed. Behind the calm vibe was chaos. Could they really finish filming in just 20 days? Number 18. Shot in just 20 days. Friday looks like an easy, laid-back movie. The characters hang out on a porch all day. The vibe is relaxed.
This was not a relaxed, easygoing film set.
Nothing about it seems rushed or stressful, but the actual production was the complete opposite. The schedule was brutal. The cast and crew started filming at sunrise. They worked straight through until midnight. There was no time to rest or reset between scenes. The long hours were tough, but how did they film when Tucker kept everyone laughing? Number 17. Filmed on the director's childhood street. Chris Tucker caused a significant problem on set. His improvised lines were too funny. The crew couldn't keep it together during his scenes. People would start laughing in the middle of takes. That laughter got picked up by the microphones. The sound team tried to work around it. They asked people to stay quiet. They repositioned equipment. Nothing worked. Tucker would launch into another improvised bit, and someone would crack up. The audio was constantly being ruined by background laughter. The director had to make a decision. During Tucker's scenes, half the crew had to leave. This created a strange situation. Filming on a real street had challenges. What if the neighbors refused to move during a shoot? Number 15. Locals who refused to move. There's a flashback scene in Friday where two men are sitting on a wall in the background. They weren't extras. They were locals from the neighborhood who refused to move when the production team asked them to leave.
These men were not hired extras. They were actual residents of the neighborhood.
The crew even offered them money, but they said no. That was their spot, and they weren't giving it up for a movie shoot. The director had no choice but to film around them. The result was actually perfect because it captured something real. Friday ended up with a genuine moment preserved on film, all because two guys wouldn't budge from their wall. Filming in a real neighborhood was tough, but what rule kept everyone safe on set? Number 14. The Grape Nightmare. Filming Friday in South Central Los Angeles came with real danger. The neighborhood was Crips territory, and their gang color was blue. The rival gang, the Bloods, wore red. Wearing the wrong color in the wrong neighborhood could get someone hurt or attacked. The production crew knew this going in and made a strict rule for everyone on set. After real gang tension on set, what link did Cube hide between Friday and Boys in the Hood? Number 13. Craig's link to Doughboy. The opening scene of Friday has a detail that connects it directly to Boys in the Hood. Craig is wearing cut-off khaki shorts, a green shirt, and white socks. That's the exact same outfit Doughboy wore in the final scene of Boys in the Hood. This wasn't an accident or a wardrobe coincidence. Ice Cube did it on purpose. He played Doughboy in Boys in the Hood, a character who got caught up in gang violence and ended up dead. By putting Craig in the same clothes, Cube was making a statement. While Cube's wardrobe choice was deep, did people catch the hidden joke in Craig's phone call? Number 12. The cheating girlfriend scene. There's a joke in Friday that most people didn't catch for years. Craig gets a phone call from his girlfriend Joy. She's accusing him of cheating on her.
She calls him and accuses him of cheating on her with Debbie and Felicia.
The whole time she's talking, there's a man visible in her bed behind her. He's just lying there asleep while she's on the phone, complaining about Craig supposedly being unfaithful. Most viewers completely missed it because the scene moves quickly and the focus is on the conversation. After one hidden joke inside, what clever visual gag was waiting right outside? Number 11. Miss Parker was watering dirt. The famous scene where Miss Parker says, "Hi, boys," while watering her lawn has a hilarious hidden detail. She's not actually watering a lawn. Look at the ground, and it's just brown dirt. There's no grass anywhere. The production crew did this on purpose because they didn't have money in the budget for proper set dressing. They couldn't afford to put down fake grass or sod, so they just shot the scene as is. The funny thing is that it made the moment even better. After one unplanned joke made the scene funnier, the director decided to slip in his own. Where did he secretly appear on screen? Number 10. The director's cameo. F. Gary Gray made a cameo in his own movie, but most people never noticed it.
F. Gary Gray gave himself a small, secret role in his own movie.
Directors often like to sneak into their films for a split second, and Gray did exactly that in Friday. There's a scene at the convenience store where Izal pretends to slip on a wet floor so he can rob the cash register. An employee is mopping that floor right before it happens. After his cameo, what inside joke did the team add for the studio that backed them? Number 9. The hidden studio joke. There's a small detail in Friday that most people miss. When Craig's dad sits watching television, the movie playing on screen is Man's Best Friend, a horror film about a killer dog. The movie isn't randomly chosen. New Line Cinema distributed Man's Best Friend, the same studio that funded Friday. Ice Cube and DJ Pooh slipped it into the scene as an inside joke for anyone paying close attention. After the studio nod, what made Red's chain more than a prop? Number 8. Red's chain was real. There's a moment in Friday where Red gets knocked out by Debo and cries out, "My grandmama gave me that chain."
Well, my grandmama gave me that chain.
Most people assumed it was just a funny line with a prop chain. It wasn't. That gold chain actually belonged to DJ Pooh, and his grandmother really did give it to him. The production didn't use a fake piece of jewelry for that scene. Pooh wore his actual chain, something with real sentimental value, and let Debo rip it off his neck on camera. After showing real emotion, how did Tucker nail a stoner role without getting high? Number 7. Chris Tucker was never high. Smokey was high throughout the entire movie, but Chris Tucker wasn't. He didn't smoke weed or drink while filming Friday. Tucker stayed completely sober on set. He even talked about it later, saying that making a movie while high just doesn't work. Everything people saw on screen was pure acting. Tucker studied how people acted when they were stoned and replicated it perfectly without actually being in that state himself. The funny part is that staying sober improved his performance. Tucker stole the show, but one short line outgrew the movie. How did "Bye Felicia" become a worldwide catchphrase? Number 6. The birth of "Bye Felicia." The phrase "Bye Felicia" took on a life of its own long after Friday came out. It became an internet meme that millions of people used without knowing its origin.
Many of whom had no idea where it came from.
The line showed up everywhere, in rap songs, on Twitter, in casual conversations, and even in the movie Straight Outta Compton. People were saying it constantly in the 2010s to dismiss someone or brush them off. After one line went global, why did Tucker reject $12 million? Number 5. Tucker turned down an offer. Friday became a hit, and New Line Cinema wanted Chris Tucker back for the sequel. The studio offered him somewhere between $10 and $12 million to reprise his role as Smokey in Next Friday. Tucker turned it down flat. He didn't want to be known as the weed guy for the rest of his career, nor did he want to play the same character again. At the time, walking away from that kind of money was almost unheard of in Hollywood. Most actors would take the check, but Tucker chose integrity over millions. Number 4. Why Smokey never returned. Chris Tucker turned down the Friday sequels, and for years people thought it was about money. Fans blamed Ice Cube for not paying Tucker enough, but the real reason was completely different. Tucker had become more religious after the first movie and didn't feel comfortable cursing on screen or being in a film that showed substance use in a positive light. He also worried about being typecast as the stoner character for the rest of his career. After Tucker left, Cube fought to finish the story, but what happened when time ran out for One Last Friday? Number 3. The Lost Sequel Battle. Ice Cube spent years trying to make Last Friday the final movie in the trilogy, but Warner Brothers owns the rights and kept stalling on the project. While negotiations dragged on, tragedy struck the cast. John Witherspoon passed away in 2019, Tiny Lister in 2020, Bernie Mac in 2008, and Anthony Johnson in 2021. The window to bring everyone back closed permanently, and Last Friday will never happen the way Ice Cube envisioned it. After the sequel dream died, the first Friday only grew bigger. How much did it really make? Number 2. How much Friday really made. Friday opened in theaters in April 1995, and nobody thought it would be a major success. The movie earned over $27 million at the box office. That's nearly 8 times what it cost to make. The numbers turned heads all over Hollywood. Studios began realizing that authentic stories made on small budgets could compete with big-budget films, and even win. The success didn't stop at ticket sales. The Friday soundtrack went platinum, selling millions of copies. The music made the studio more money than some of their expensive projects that year. Songs from the album got heavy radio play and became hits on their own. Beyond the money and hits, what lasting mark did Friday leave on the culture that shaped it? Number 1. Friday's cultural impact. Friday came out 3 decades ago, but it never really left. The movie became more than just a comedy that people watched once and forgot about. It worked its way into everyday life. People still say, "Bye Felicia," without even thinking about where it came from. The clothes characters wore in the movie influenced street fashion for years. Which of these 28 secrets did you not expect to see on this list? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.